I'm not trying to cause any drama here. Meh, because I think I look a little bit like I've got pink eye. Et voila. Stream Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift on Spotify. So in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Manny Mua x Morphe, well, technically Morphe x Manny Mua Glam palette. This was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't really see that much build up towards this palette. I feel like with the Shane and Jeffree collaboration, everyone knew that was coming for months. And then with Manny's palette, he just was kind of like, surprise, I have a palette with Morphe. Unless I'd missed something, like I literally just saw something about this on Twitter and was like, oh, maybe I should get it and test it because it was actually really affordable. Obviously like Morphe have done collabs with Jaclyn Hill, they've done collabs with James Charles, and those products were quite pricey. But Manny's palette is $20 or £20, and then obviously Morphe's always got a discount code. 12 eyeshadows and 2 highlighters for £18, which I actually think is a pretty decent price point. So I thought I would test it because I love testing, in particular, other YouTubers' makeup collaborations, just because I find it super interesting to see their tastes, to see the formulas, to see if they're actually any good, and let you guys know the truth. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if you don't know who Manny Mua is, he is this lovely smiley chappy right here. Wow, that was the most British thing I've ever said. I just wanted to show you something funny, right? When I think I was 17, no, I must have been 18, because it was just after I started my YouTube channel. I won a signed Manny Mua and Makeup Geek collaboration eyeshadow palette, which was signed by him, but I used this so much that the writing all rubbed off, and then I tried to save it by painting clear nail polish over it, but at that point, it was too late. But yeah, he did do a collaboration with Makeup Geek. And I'm going to talk about that in a second because we'll talk about that in a second. Let's just get into the video. So the palette itself, it's relatively small, which I actually really like. For me personally, the bigger Morphe palettes like the James Charles palette is just too big that I've never travelled with it anywhere and like never taken it with me to any events or anything, or just on holiday. Like, nothing like that. It stays in a drawer and I rarely get it out because it's so big that it's just a bit awkward to use. So I like that this is a smaller palette. I'm not gonna lie, like the packaging isn't my favourite for an eyeshadow palette. I do think this like marbly bit is quite cool, but I don't really like the multicoloured stripe. I don't know, there's just something about this, like it doesn't particularly catch my eye. However, I'm not too bothered about like the outer packaging. Yes, I am a sucker for packaging, but if I'm paying £18 for a palette, I'm more interested in the shades on the inside, which I actually thought looked really nice, which is why I bought this. If it was shades that I wasn't going to use, I wouldn't have got it because I've got so many eyeshadow palettes. But I really thought that I would use this, and I thought, you know, maybe some other people might use it too and would want to see a review of it. Another good thing about this palette is it does have a mirror. I've just noticed there's a shade in here called Sophie. Manny, thank you so much for naming a shade after me. That is so sweet. He obviously did not name the shade after me. He probably has somebody in his life called Sophie. Maybe it's me, who knows? Definitely not me, but I think that's really cool. By the way, just a little, oh, I didn't put any earrings in. I feel so naked. Why is there an M&M in my bag? Oh, that's a peanut butter M&M. I'm actually gross. I definitely take after my dad. Don't want to waste food, you know? By the way, if you're interested, I think these earrings are still available on the Skinny Dip website. These are from my collaboration, as are my necklaces. This actually arrived pretty quickly. I did have to pay £5 for standard shipping. There were no express shipping options or anything. If you want to use a code that actually like goes towards charity, you can use the code ADOPTLOVE, which is what I did. It's still like 10% off and the money goes towards animal shelters, I believe. So as soon as I saw the colour scheme for this palette, it really reminded me of his palette that he did with Makeup Geek back in the day. I know that there is probably some tea there now and some kind of drama that I think went down with Makeup Geek. I don't even know what happened. I stay out of all YouTube drama because I'm just over here in the UK. Like, you can't tell me that these palettes don't look similar. This is the Makeup Geek one that came out years ago, and I'm not gonna lie, this was one of my favourite palettes that I ever owned. I'm just gonna swatch this blue brown shade with them against the Morphe blue brown shade called Aries. So that is the Makeup Geek one, and this is the Morphe one. So the Makeup Geek one is definitely more pigmented. I'm not trying to cause any drama here. I was just pointing out the similarities. And then there's this colour here, which looks very similar to Leo in the Morphe palette. I really should turn my phone on silent when I'm filming. So this is the Makeup Kit one. This is the shade Leo from the Morphe palette. Oh, okay, yeah, they're definitely not the same. This one from Makeup Geek is a bit more kind of rose goldy. There definitely are some similarities, and this palette was limited edition, so if he's trying to kind of like recreate it with some of his favorite shades, I don't really see why not. I'm just gonna swatch the highlighters. So we have Apollo and then we have Nova. So Apollo is a slightly darker, more bronzy colour. Hopefully you can see that there. That would definitely be too dark on me, but I think on medium to deep skin tones that would be really pretty. And then Nova is the lighter one, which isn't quite as pigmented as this one here. It's not as kind of metallic, and it feels like a slightly different formula. It feels more finely milled. So I'm going in with Nova here, which is a little bit more pinky champagne toned, whereas Apollo is more of like a bronzy champagne. Okay, that's nice. It's not the most blinding highlighter I've ever seen, but the actual kind of texture of it looks really nice. It's not emphasizing texture on my face, but it is definitely a little bit more on the subtle side. Obviously you can build it and layer it, and if you were slightly, you know, more tanned than me, or if you had like a more medium skin tone, then you could probably mix these two together to make a really nice kind of hybrid between the two. Just gonna add a little bit more and see if I can kind of build it up. It is really pretty. It gives you that kind of lit from within type glow. On camera, I feel like it's coming across as very like intense, but in real life it's a little bit more kind of toned down and soft almost. I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of that on my brow bone. Actually, I'm gonna try the slightly darker one on my brow bone because I might be able to just get away with it there. But that one is definitely bit more metallic. And then I'm going in with Nova, which is the lighter one, down me nose. Let's try and hide my really bad nose contour today. And then I'm gonna go onto my inner corners as well. This one just almost like looks a little bit softer on your skin and not as, what's the word? It doesn't look as heavy, which I actually quite like. So in his campaign pictures, he's definitely using that bluey brown sort of duochrome kind of shade. I think his makeup in these pictures looks beautiful, so I'm going to try and recreate this and see what I can do with this palette. These two shades do look very similar, Boy Next Door and Sophie. Boy Next Door is just a tiny little bit lighter, but I'm going to go in with the shade Sophie because why would I not? And I'm just going to use this as my transition shade. By the way, I know that my brush looks really stained, but I have actually like dusted the product off on my brush, on my color switch thing from Amazon. I just typed in color switch sponge, I think. Okay, so shade Sophie. I wasn't actually expecting that to show up too much on my skin tone because it looks quite light in the pan, but you can definitely see that. For my skin tone, it's pretty much the perfect sort of transition shade. I might try and incorporate a little bit more of the kind of pinky burgundy tones into this as well. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Spellbound, which is this brick red sort of colour, which has also got some brown in it, and I'm just gonna add some of that into my crease as well. I'm just going in with a very light hand. I mean, so far they're really nice and pigmented. I'm literally just going like that and then tapping off the excess. I'm then going to take the shade which is called Gementa. I think it's called Gementa because it's like magenta, but just swap round. And I'm just going to dip into a tiny bit of this and add a little bit of pink because I feel like it. I feel like the pink will go quite nice with the bluey sort of brown. But I'm just buffing that over the top of that shade just very lightly because I don't want this to be like too intensely pink, but I just want a little hint of it. Something I just want to point out is these, for me, I'm finding a little bit easier to work with than the James Charles palette, because obviously in his palette they had more pressed pigments, whereas these say eyeshadows, so I think they're pressed like your standard sort of eyeshadows. So I just use my regular base, which is putting a bit of concealer on my eyelids and then setting it with some powder, and it's working totally fine over the top of that. Like, they're sticking to my eyelids and everything, which I mean is what you kind of want when you're doing your eye makeup. I'm gonna go in with the shade Howl, which is this dark kind of cool toned brown. I like how there's a mix of cool and warm tones in here. There's a few more cooler tones over this side, obviously excluding the orange colour called Fire Witch. But yeah, I feel like you could get a really nice warm look with these, you could get a really nice cool look with these, so it's got a bit of a mixture, which is nice. So I'm taking that dark cool brown, gonna just put this on the outer and inner corners of my eye and also blend that into my crease. Actually, I'm not sure this brush is going to be the best for this because it is quite big And I need to get into my inner corners. But wow, that shade is pigmented. And then just going to dip back into the brush that I used for the pink, and I'm just going to blend those two shades together. But that went on really pigmented. I do have my dry eye issues back again. I figured out what's caused it now. It's actually, unfortunately, my reusable face halo makeup removers. And I don't know what to do about that because they're irritating my eyes, but obviously they're a lot better for the environment. So if anyone else has any other suggestions, please let me know. Okay, that brown shade isn't quite liking the dry skin on my eyes, but let me just give you a close-up. I think it's my eyelid fault rather than the eyeshadow. Because if you look at the areas above the dry skin, like into my crease and everything, it has blended nicely, but then on those little areas on my actual eyelid, where I've got dry skin, it's not quite blending as smooth, but then I guess that is kind of to be expected. I'm then taking that shade called Aries, which is this duochrome shade, and I'm gonna put that all over my eyelid, I guess, because that's what he seems to have in his campaign pictures, and I wanna see if I can recreate it. I'm gonna use a brush first, but we all know that I love using a good old finger. Ooh, she pretty. But nah, I'm going in with my finger. There we go. Oh, there's actual flakes of eyelid that are coming off. That's nice. That colour is really nice, actually. I think this would be even more stunning if you added a bit of like setting spray or something and then put it on your eyelid. But I'm just gonna go with, you know, the standard application. It's not the most metallic of these kind of duochrome shades that I've seen before, but it definitely is still really pretty. Like, you can really see that there. But I'm not gonna lie, the Makeup Geek one was definitely a bit more metallic, but then it was also a lot more expensive, so I guess, you know, there's pros and cons. So I've just kind of put that all over my eyelid. I think I would prefer it if it was a little bit more metallic, but it still looks really pretty. I think what I might do is go in with a little bit. Let's take a bit of this highlighter shade. I'm just gonna add like a tiny bit of that over the top, just to brighten up the center. I'm just gonna swatch the other two shimmers that I didn't use, which are called Scorpio and Cancer. So that gold there is Scorpio. And then next to it, we have Cancer, which on first swatch is a little bit meh. I'm just gonna go in again. Okay, so it's definitely a lot stronger on the second swatch, and that does feel really nice. Again, maybe it's one of those shimmers that you would have to use a little bit of fixing spray with. Right, I'm then gonna go in with the shade Zaya, which is this one. I haven't actually used this yet, which is a warm sort of brown. Ooh, okay, that's more pigmented than I expected it to be. This would be like my perfect brown for doing an everyday sort of makeup look, I think. And then taking Gementa again. Gementa, I don't know what I'm saying. Let's add a little bit of that. Because apparently I'm the queen of layering 5 shades on top of each other until they look like mud. I just get carried away. Going into Hal, which is the dark brown, I'm just gonna add a bit of that over the top because I think I look a little bit like I've got pink eye. You know what? Let me go and get my fixing spray. So I'm just gonna dip into Aries again, and I'm gonna load some of this up on my brush. Did it off camera so I don't spray it on my camera lens. And then I'm gonna add some of that to my lower lash line. Et voila! And then on my very inner corners, I'm taking some more of that shade Nova. And let's mix it with a bit of Apollo, why not? I've already got a bit of highlight on there, but I just want to add a little bit more. There we go. I'm actually really happy with how the overall look turned out. I think all of those kind of matte shades that I used blended beautifully in with each other. I'm gonna go ahead and do my liner and lashes, and then I will be right back. So this is the finished look with liner and lashes. I just used the what's it called? It Cosmetics Superhero Liner, I think. And then my lashes are actually from the Fern McCann range in Poundland. Looking in the viewfinder, all I can see is Taylor Momsen. It's definitely more of a dramatic and dark look that I would normally go for. Oh, and I put a little bit of brown liner in my waterline, but I actually really like it. I mean, I wouldn't be super comfortable wearing this out because it is quite heavy, but I really like the way that it all looks. So my overall thoughts on the palette are, I do actually think that it's worth the money. I think £18 is a really nice price point for an eyeshadow palette of this size, especially with the 2 highlighters in the mirror and how easy it is to travel with and everything. I think the eyeshadows are nice quality. The mattes probably perform better than the shimmers in my opinion. The most pigmented out of the shimmers is probably the gold one, which is called Scorpio, but I still think it is a gorgeous palette and I would say that it's worth the money. If you guys want to be featured in any future videos, please leave me a question down below with the hashtag question of the day. Any question that you want to know about me, fire them at me, leave them down below. Today's question comes from Lauren Freya, and she said, hey Soph, are you planning on having your own makeup room when you move into a new house? By the way, every time you post, I'm so happy. You're literally an angel and I love you so much. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Yes, that is like the one main reason that I want to move out. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm nearly 23. I want to move out anyway, just to like have my own space, because currently I literally do everything in my bedroom. I film on my bed. Obviously, I've got my makeup in here. It's a little bit busy with all my equipment and everything because I don't really like have much storage space to put stuff away. So yes, when I move out, my main focus is to definitely have a separate filming room slash makeup beauty room, I guess, and then obviously a bedroom. But I think it's really, really important that I have that separate space, because most people go to work, they'll go to an office or they'll go to wherever they work, and then they'll come home and then they'll have their relaxation space. But for me, because it's all in my bedroom, like I think for my mental health, it's really important to separate the two. Please let me know if you'd be interested in seeing any kind of moving style videos on this channel. I'm definitely going to be doing some on my vlog channel, but I want to do like a whole room makeover of my like office slash beauty room. So let me know if you want to see that when I do eventually move out. Haven't found anywhere yet, but hopefully in the new year I will be moving out. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I will leave the products that I used down below. I will try and link them, and yeah, I hope you guys are all doing really, really good, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!